To It's Not Sports. I'm your host, Callie Sinovia.
And I'm Tyson Rex.
As I'm with Tyson Rex as always. Man, to the left. Everything Hayward owns in a box to the left.
To the left.
Hayward is officially out. And in true celebration of Hayward's stay here in Utah, we have created something equally as special. The Goodbye Hayward song is making its debut later in the show. So excited to bring you our brainchild of a song, and it's amazing. So Summer League, let's get into Summer League. So much anticipation leading up to Summer League. I watched a couple games, got to see Lonzo and or Donovan Mitchell. And
Donovan Mitchell, how did he do? How many points did he get?
So he did really well. The first game, he got 23 points. Looked really, really good. Lonzo looked really good too. First game was actually kind of a dumpster fire. The second game came back and I think the pressure kind of got to him a little bit in the first game. Second game looked way more relaxed, was seeing the floor a lot better. Still had, he's going to have some defensive steps. He's going to have to make some steps in his defensive game. Still kind of went through some awkward threes that were, it's Summer League. Obviously, he's not playing at his hardest or whatever, but I thought it was interesting. These kids are green, so they still have a lot to learn, so it's going to be really exciting to see them grow. And for the Celtics, I saw Tatum play, and he looks like he's going to be able to step onto the floor and be an automatic impact on the offensive end. And I really liked what I saw defensively, albeit against, rookies and stuff. But Summer League looked really, really awesome. And ratings are up on Summer League. So I think I'm not the only one that's tuning in these days. And the Jazz have acquired Thabo Sefolosha. He's a 33-year-old small forward who averages 7.2 points a game, 4.4 rebounds, and 1.5 steals. So we still have a point hole we still need to fill with the departures.
Well, do we start Sefolosha?
I don't think he's going to start, no. But I want, when free agency was going on, and I know that Hayward didn't really leave them in the best position to be making moves, but with the departure of Hayward and Hill, we have a hole to fill point wise. And while I know that we'll be great defensively, the game still is recorded by points. So
yeah, Hill, you said he was at 16 points a game?
17. Yeah.
17 points a game, and then Hayward
22,
so roughly 40 point hole we have to fill. And we bring Sefolosha in, which gives us 8 or 7 if we're going by statistics. Mm-hmm. And Rubio, who averages how many points a game?
9, 10.
10 points a game.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a great point guard. He got, I think, kind of screwed over. I mean, I've heard rumors that Hayward really wanted to bring Rubio in because he is a fantastic point guard, averaging 10 assists a game. Mm-hmm. But only around 10 points. So far, it seems like we've made up 17 of the 40 points that we need.
And then going back to the Summer League, if Donovan Mitchell can be half as impressive, I don't know what he'll look like when he's playing against pros, being defended against pros. But if he can give us half of what he has given Summer League, I think, we get 10 points, maybe 15 if we're lucky.
Maybe 10 or 15 a game. And that brings us closer. We're still looking at an 8-point hole, but we could potentially have filled 32 of those points. I mean, and we'll definitely have a much. I mean, opinions differ, but we could have a much better point guard. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It still stings. I still don't feel we're as good as we were.
Definitely not.
We were building a franchise around him, and things were really looking up with the deal that we signed with Gobert.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he could become one of the premier. I mean, he could become a 20-point a game center. And he's so incredible defensively, but we're not as good.
We aren't, and that's what is so disappointing. Like we've said this before, it was so nice for the Jazz to finally make it to the playoffs, make it past the first round, and even though we didn't really have a chance in the second round, we did have opportunities to at least win a game. Against the Warriors. So you at the close of the season, when you're taking in the whole picture, you're feeling like the Jazz really have a legitimate shot. We're going to be in the playoffs for the foreseeable future if nothing changes. And I usually say that
great if nothing changes.
They usually say that due to injuries, because injuries can shift.
Which we battled all year.
Yeah.
And I mean, it seems like we've battled injuries 2, maybe even 3 years in a row, just not having a healthy core squad.
Mm-hmm.
But the squad as it was, once everyone was healthy, I really liked the level that I was seeing. And it had been 7 years since we'd gone to the playoffs, so we'll see what happens. I think, Coach Quinn Snyder, I hear nothing but praise of him. He seems like a really excellent coach. He can make the most with what he has left, and I don't want to predict it, but at this moment, maybe a 50% shot to make the playoffs. But the West really is very competitive, so maybe. I mean,
and especially now with all the free agents and signings that have taken place. We've 2 stars have left the East and gone to the West, so it's going to be more competitive than it was last year.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's going to be a harder West. I mean, OKC is going to be. It'll be really interesting to see how Westbrook and George combine, and you can't leave out the Houston Rockets, CP3 and Harden. That's pretty insane.
The reports today that the Rockets and the Knicks are in negotiations for a 3-way trade to get Melo to the Rockets. And basically that's the only place he wants to go. So if the Knicks want, to get anything from him, that they're going to have to work something out with Houston and another team. So, I mean, wow. I mean, you'll definitely have your pick of weapons there.
If that trade, and we'll have to see. I mean, hopefully we'll know by next week at this time, but that would be quite the team.
Right.
As far as offensive firepower, I would
Chris Paul brings some defensive firepower, where they didn't have that before in Harden. And and then you also have the coach of the year, Mike D'Antoni, who is coaching these guys. So I think Houston's going to be a legitimate threat next year. Definitely check the box for 3-pointers. They will make those.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So, and Oklahoma City upgraded, and I really like what the Timberwolves are doing too. They have Karl Anthony Towns, Jimmy Butler, and Jeff Teague, and I feel like there was another person they just signed, and Jamal Crawford.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Crawford.
And he's not going to be a starter, but I mean that team is loading up. I still don't think they check enough 3-point boxes to be a threat, but they definitely are. They're going to be in the conversation for sure. And talking about other teams that are definitely going to be in the conversation, let's head over to the East with the Boston Celtics. And we have a special little song for Gordon Hayward at the end, so make sure you stay with us. But what do you think about the East now? Do the Celtics have enough to measure up against the Cavs?
Yeah, that's the question. My gut feeling is no. They couldn't compete against the Cavs at all, and I don't know that the addition of Hayward changes that. But don't count out Brad Stevens. I mean, he's one of the most promising young coaches in the NBA. In his 4th year, he led the Celtics with his existing tools to the best record in the East. Hayward certainly gives him a lot of flexibility in drawing up plays. And the two know each other, so he knows Stevens will know how to play to Hayward's strengths and how to draw things up for him, just like back in the good old days.
Yeah, and I like, obviously this is an upgrade for Boston. They needed another go-to scorer. It's nice that they have Isaiah Thomas, who can score when he needs to and pass when he needs to. And I agree with your assessment of Brad Stevens. He's one of the youngest up-and-coming coaches in like all of sports. Like, there's really not that outstanding coach that's young like Brad Stevens. I mean,
yeah.
I think
he might have even been like the youngest head coach in history. I mean, I could be wrong on that, but if he's not the youngest, he's in the top 3 youngest.
Right, and a true testament to his youth, and with youth you get a different mode of thinking, new ideas, and something he's been quoted to say is he doesn't believe in the 5 positions anymore. You either have a ball handler, a wing, or a big, and that's it. And I like the simplification of that, because that's kind of how what basketball has shifted to, because the wing players are so important now. The bigs aren't as important.
Yeah.
And then you definitely have to have a great ball handler now. Like, you're not good unless you have someone that can handle the ball well.
Yeah. It shifted to there's much more shooting and a lot less post play than there was in the past. So, who would be today's Karl Malone, for instance? I don't know that there's a big...
Dwight Howard, maybe. Dwight, I think, is taller than Malone is, but...
Well, I mean, as far as just point totals, Karl Malone would do easily 30, 32, 34 points a game.
Well, I mean, that's...
as a power forward.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we have the equivalent of that right now.
Well, definitely not in the way that Malone would score, but we definitely have players that get those point totals because of 3-pointers.
Yeah, 3-pointers, but not in the post.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing, because that's we grew up watching Utah Jazz basketball, and post play was so much more dominant than the 3, and you used to see the 3 as the last go-to. Like, you couldn't get inside, you couldn't get any of your interior plays, whatever you had drawn up, to work, and so you took that 3. And I sometimes remember being like, oh, and criticizing because it's like, that should be the last option. The furthest shot away from the basket should be the last option. And now there's this sharpshooting NBA where you see it's insane, the shot percentage on 3s even, that you see entire teams averaging 40% for 3.
Yeah, much higher.
Or higher.
And the amazing thing is, now you have, instead of a fast break just being an easy 2, a fast break can turn into an easy 3.
Exactly.
So just a true testament to how this game has changed. And I think that's why Brad Stevens is so effective, is because he's embracing these new ideas, and he's not that much older than his players, so he can identify with those players in a way that most coaches can't.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know, obviously, but I'm a little skeptical, but we'll have a much better idea about 30 games in if Boston's interior play is strengthened a little bit and if their shooting's improved a lot.
Yeah. Well, much ado about our next segment. We have created a song displaying all of our deepest
love
and sorrow
for Gordon Hayward, and sorrow being Utah Jazz fans.
Yes. And we're so excited to bring it to you and show it to you. So here it is.
Hayward, damn you. Goodbye, Hayward. Though I knew you at all. You didn't have the strength to hold yourself to the salty city which said, #Stayward. #Stayward. Because foreign GMs and coaches, they whispered to your brain. They convinced you to pack your bags. And if you return, you may want to change your name. And it seems to me you had a career like a candle in the wind. Never knowing who to choose, refuting reports when the news said,
is he going or is he staying?
And we would have continued to love you. It's time to #take note. Your candle burned out long before your legend was ever built. You're a Utah legend, Gordon, before it was ever built.
Fuck your unfinished business.
Why did you do it?
Goodbye,
Boston.
Hayward.
Lost.
Our heartfelt goodbye to you, Gordon Hayward. I truly do wish him the best. I think he'll do...
Same here. I loved watching him play. Loved watching him grow. I mean, he was such a kid.
Yes.
When he arrived
so tiny.
Here. Just, and to see him bulk up, and he's an extremely confident defender as well. And, I kind of think, God, what's this scrawny white boy doing out there? I loved that he played video games for sure.
Yes.
But he just reminded me almost of me at that age. But he's bulked up and he's become an incredible playmaker. So, it's with a heavy heart, but I definitely wish him the best. And I will probably watch more of Boston and keep a closer eye on Boston this year just to see how Hayward does.
I agree. And I think he at least has a chance to make all-star teams in the East and at least take his game to a new level, not having to face such fierce competition in the West.
Yeah, I would love to see him, get up to between 25 and 30 a game. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoyed our show today, especially our song. We're very proud of it. We think it's funny. Hopefully you do too. Thank you for joining us today. This is It's Not Sports. I'm Callie Sinovia.
I'm Tyson Rex.
And we're out of here. Adios.
Adios.